Hello, 7th grade science students. I'm Mrs. Lindsley. You may have seen me around middle school last year. I know this is new for you, new teacher. So I want to start off by introducing you to your science books. They're green, and they're not exactly this book, but they are similar to this book. It's a life science book. It's like a lime green color. Please pull that out so I can show you a few basic pieces of it that I want you to be familiar with. Okay, if you don't all have it out, Mrs. Mallory can pause the video. But your science book, you need to be aware of some of the pages and what they're called. This is a title page. Yours will look slightly different. This is an acknowledgments page. And you have, I think, a few more acknowledgments page, but you want to get to something that looks like this. It's called a table of contents. You need to become familiar with a table of contents. The purpose of it is to guide you to the section of the book where you're going to find headings or topics. When I use the science book, we don't sit together and read it. I might assign you sections of it to read on your own, or I might say, use your science book to find this information. I'm not necessarily going to tell you a page number. You need to know how to find a page number. To do that, you could use your table of contents. It tells you chapter titles and sections and where those sections can be found in the book. So you can narrow down your search. I don't want to see you desperately flipping through the entire book to find something. You could use a resource in the back of the book called an index. You can go ahead and flip and look at your own. An index is where you find very specific information. It gives you a topic or a title of something, a word even, and tells you all the pages you're going to find that word listed. If the page number is in bold, it's because there's a picture or graphic that goes with it. And finally, right next to the index is something called a glossary. A glossary is where you'll find definitions for terms in the book. Not every single term, but the ones you may not be familiar with. The reason I point the glossary out to you, this textbook is a 6th to 8th grade textbook, so it's written in 6th to 8th grade language, meaning you should be able to understand the words they use. Google is not written in 6th to 8th grade language, so you might not understand the words that you find in there or the definitions. Every week in science class, you have science vocabulary assigned, and then the next week it's due. So I assign a set of words on a Wednesday. For you, it's a Friday. And they're due the next Wednesday. Your first set of science vocabulary is due on Wednesday, September 9th. There's only 5 words, so it shouldn't be that difficult. You are welcome to copy and paste the definitions from Google, but you have to read the definition. Before you put it in on your document, you have to read and make sure you understand it. That's why I showed you the glossary, because you should be able to understand the definitions in the glossary. If you read the definition that you find on Google and it makes sense, then use it. I'm not opposed to that. But if you read it and it doesn't make sense, don't use it. We're going to be using these terms and these definitions throughout the lessons, so you really have to understand the words. Let me show you the rubric I'm going to use to grade your weekly science vocabulary. So I'm going to Google Classroom. I'm just going to choose one of the 7th grade classrooms. Move myself up over here. In the classwork section, down at the bottom, the last section is called Science Vocabulary. Here, the bottom assignment or bottom posting is called Science Vocab Guidelines and Rubric. Basically, this document says everything that I just said. It spells it out for you. So every week for the terms I give you, you have to define each one of them. They each need a definition, whether you use Google to define it or not. Then, on the word list, if the word or term is in black font, you have to also use the word in a sentence. And the sentence has to show me context. Meaning you can't say, oh, Mrs. Lindsley said the word photosynthesis in class today. Well, that doesn't show me that you know what that word means. You have to use it in a sentence that shows meaning. If the word is in blue font, instead of a sentence, you can find a picture and put it on your Google Doc. So every word needs a definition. Words in black font can have a sentence. Words in blue can have a picture. And if you scroll down on here, there's how you get that. It's a 5-point rubric. Every week, the words that's worth 5 points. So your words have to be in student language. They have to show context. The sentences do, or the images have to show meaning or understanding. And then we start bumping down points as that does or doesn't happen. Another thing that I want you to be aware of, every third week there will be a vocab quiz. So usually it's like 15 words, all right, that we've been working with. I will go over the vocabulary with you before a quiz. I will post flashcards for the vocab to my Google Classroom page. It says here Moodle. I can show you Moodle, but I'm trying to get away from using it. If you're familiar with Quizlet and you know how to use it, you are welcome to use Quizlet. Quizlet will also insert pictures. It does have an image option. If you have to use a sentence for Quizlet, after the definition, you just hit enter and you can put the definition or a sentence right underneath it, type it underneath it. Same idea with Quizlet though. Quizlet is user contributed, meaning that people go in there and they add definitions to words, and then they just make this big bank of definitions that they offer to you. You have to read the definition and make sure it makes sense. All right, so for example, I'm going to show you your first set of words. I'm back in the classwork section. Vocab word lists. This posting, it's called a materials list, will be there, and I'll add to it every week the next set of words. So week 1 words. Your week 1 words are all in blue font. So every one of these needs a definition and can have a picture. If you'd rather write a sentence, go right ahead. But see the word producer here? I have biology definition next to it because a producer could be someone who, funds or gives money to the production of a movie. Well, that's not the definition I want. I want a producer in nature. A biology definition of producer. Same thing with consumer. A consumer is someone who buys goods. But I don't want that definition. I want a consumer, the biology definition, in nature. So you need to make sure that the definitions you choose make sense with the word. The word as we're using it. And we're working in life science. That's why this is the biology definition. So that, again, you're going to find those guidelines I just went over at the bottom. The first set of words is listed here, posted there. This is the first assignment. So when you're finished, when you're done with your vocab, you link it to this assignment. I would recommend, if you're going to use a Google Doc, you go to week 1, click on it, expands. Go to view assignment, click on it. This is where your screen looks different than mine. On the upper right-hand corner, you have something that says add or create. Click on it. Scroll down to where it says Google Doc. So you're creating a Google Doc right attached to this assignment. It'll pop open a new tab, start your vocab right there. I like that because it gives it a title. So many of you don't title your documents, and it puts your name right on it. And it's automatically attached to that assignment. Do not send me links to your science vocab. I don't want it emailed to me. I want it attached to this assignment in Google Classroom. And if you're worried that you will not understand how to do that, I will walk you through it next week, Tuesday, before the vocab is due. I will walk you through it again on Wednesday. And trust me, by week 9 or 10, you'll have this down. Not a big deal. If you know how to use Quizlet, you know how to get a link from Quizlet to the deck, and you can attach it to this assignment, go for it. And I can walk you through that next week. But if you're not sure about Quizlet, I would start on Google Doc, just typing it on a Google Doc. And when I say picture, I don't mean draw me a picture. I mean find a picture and use it on just paste it onto your Google Doc that shows what that term means. So every week you have science vocab due. Your first set of science vocabulary is due Wednesday, September 9th. All right. And then you'll get a new set of words on Wednesday, September 9th, but it's due the next week. The other thing that I wanted to talk to you about is what I call bell ringer activities. Bell ringer activities are intended for that time while I'm shuffling into your room, your teacher might be shuffling out of your room, I'm getting my computer all hooked into the wires. You have something to do. It's called a bell ringer activity. In my classroom, in the stream, I will post, let me cancel that. I will post bell ringer activities, and you'll see it. It'll say bell ringer activity and the date. There is one for today. In just a minute, I'll let you have a chance to go and work on it. So it'll say bell ringer activity, the date for the day, and it'll tell you exactly what to do. Sometimes it'll be go to the bell ringer section. That's in my class work. The very top section is called bell ringer activities, and there'll be something there for you to do. It might be go to this website and do this. It might be go find this. I don't know. Every day will be different bell ringer. There'll be quick activities just to fill that time, and also there'll be something that gets our class started or reviews from the day before. All right. Sometimes it will be graded, sometimes it won't. But I'll always be taking note of who's doing the bell ringer activities, and if you don't do them, you don't get the participation credit for it, and you might need the participation credit. So to summarize all that, 1, you have science vocab due every week. You'll always find the words posted in Google Classroom in the science vocab section where it says word lists. 2, bell ringer activities. The beginning of class, you will always have a bell ringer activity that comes up in the Classroom stream and tells you exactly what to do. Okay? So the first bell ringer activity is to complete a survey, a quick little welcome survey. So I'm going to have you go ahead and work on that. And when you're finished with that, Mrs. Mallory is going to show you a few things with Pear Deck and a few kind of extensions or fun things that are on your Chromebook that hopefully will help you out a little bit. So I'll see you all next Tuesday. I hope you have some time to get your vocab started today. Otherwise, you have a nice long weekend, and it's not due until next week, Wednesday. See you then.